A house of horrors seemingly unveiled in the St. Louis area.
Tonight, a foster mother sits in jail, one of the children in her care accusing her of abuse.
It's just the tip of the iceberg in a case that could span decades. This is Brenda Deutsch. She's accused of child abuse in Lincoln County. The felony charges came after a child disappeared and was later found in Texas. Shoshana Stahl reports on years of concerns possibly not investigated.
In Lincoln County, down a quiet dirt road, no trespassing signs hang down. At the end of the road is the home where investigators say Brenda Deutsch mentally, physically, and emotionally abused her foster child.
It wasn't isolated. It was a culture of abuse and neglect.
Lincoln County prosecuting attorney Mike Wood charged Deutsch with 3 felonies for abuse or neglect of a child and endangering the welfare of a child. According to court documents, in November, the State Department of Social Services got an anonymous report the victim was being abused by Deutsch.
Emotional abuse, physical abuse, but also a level of neglect. We had some information that children were hoarding food, which is always something you look for. If they're stealing food, something you would look for.
In December, the victim was interviewed and told them about her abuse, which she said started about 3 years prior. According to court documents, the victim also says she was hit with a paddle and
emotional abuse, such as throwing their clothes away, taking them to have them evaluated for psychological issues, whether they have them or not, just as a level of control. And also sending children to residential treatment facilities just as a form of punishment.
Then in February, the school district in Lincoln County reported that the victim was missing. Wood says Deutsch sent the victim to Texas, but the reason why is unclear. One witness told investigators it was because Deutsch and the victim weren't getting along. A different witness told investigators it was so Deutsch could exchange the victim for an exotic animal. Lincoln County law enforcement got Texas authorities involved.
We just had some strong concerns about whether the child was being adequately supervised, whether she had food and clothing. Our understanding was that the home was in deplorable conditions. Pipes had frozen and burst.
Investigators say Deutsch spent decades as a foster parent with over 200 kids staying in her care. Wood says during this time, more than 200 calls were made to the state child abuse hotline to report Deutsch.
Disappointed to learn that this particular home, despite the notoriety that it had gained, was not in our system. We didn't have any police reports. We didn't have any requests for prosecution. We didn't have anything.
DSS is easily one of the most overwhelmed departments that we have, especially locally. So I think it's really important that we don't give up on those kids, because they will never have the power that we have to make those calls, to make the calls again and again and again. DSS works off of a list, how many calls have we received about this? If we've received a lot, then it's going to hit, top priorities.
Aaron Pohl with the Crime Victim Center says this abuse can cause lasting trauma, and there are free resources to help any victim.
Abuse in foster care just severely and deeply disrupts a child's ability to trust. So, especially when they're placed in what's believed to be a safer environment, it can send the message, no one is safe, or the world is unsafe, or I must be the problem. I must deserve this.
Wood is encouraging any victim who wants to share their story to come forward to the Lincoln County Prosecutor's Office. He says at least 15 people have come forward since Deutsch was charged. He says it is still early on in the investigation and more charges could be filed. He's also requested all reports on Deutsch from the Children's Division to be turned over for his office to review. There was another child in Deutsch's care who has been removed and put into protective custody. The victim is still in Texas in custody of that state. Deutsch's next court date is set for April 14th. This is something we will continue to follow. In the studio, Shoshana Stahl, First Alert 4.
The Lincoln County Sheriff says his office received reports, but Deutsch is the person who made them. Now his investigators are going back through old files to review them to see if there's anything that was missed or could have been done differently. We reached out to the Department of Social Services and we're still waiting to hear back.